Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back. We have a special guest on the show this week. His name is Miles. I can't wait for him to share with us who he is, what he's all about, what he's done, and where he's going. So, Miles, take a second to say hello to everyone.
Good morning to everyone.
Thank you. Well, big warm welcome from me and the audience. Welcome to the Tony Shap Show. And what I do is top 10 with Tony. That's the theme, at least. And I have rapid fire questions I go through because we all have businesses to run throughout the day, and we got to produce results and create paychecks. So we got to get back to what we're gonna do. So time is important to all of us, right? And also to the listeners too. That there's a lot of leaders like yourself listening. So we'll jump right into it. So what's the one word open? So I always start off with, what's the one word that you could use right now, Miles, to share how you're feeling exactly right now?
Healthy. So healthy family, healthy business. Given the current circumstances, as we're getting to the close of 2020 and everything that's gone on this year, I'm just thankful to be healthy.
Excellent. Well, and then let's talk about your business. How you got involved, where it is today, and where you're going. If you could share that with us.
Sure. So the business company's name is Actasys. It's actually a spin out of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, which is, for people who are unfamiliar, it's an engineering university that's located outside of Albany, New York. I am not actually one of the co-founders. There were three co-founders who were either professors or PhD students at the university who founded the company. I joined up about three plus years ago as an advisor, and then I took over as the CEO at the beginning of 2018. And our focal point, I guess our core expertise is aerodynamics, and we have some interesting technology that we've developed to apply aerodynamic principles to a wide variety of problems in different industries. Although our lead product and focus is in the automotive sector, where we use this aerodynamic technology to actually clear and clean sensors on a vehicle. So as vehicles get more complex, and we have cameras and lidars and all sorts of things to help essentially allow the vehicle to start taking on driving functions by itself, it's like the car has a pair of glasses, and when the glasses get dirty, they need to be cleaned in order to see properly. So that's our function.
Excellent. Share with us a recent win that you've experienced in business context, and also what did you learn from it?
Yeah, so we are truly the mouse amongst elephants. Obviously, the automotive industry is enormous, and the OEMs are enormous companies, and we're a little pipsqueak. So it's clearly just at the outset intimidating to try and work your way into that pack. But our biggest win, and it's actually one that we announced recently, was a relationship with Volvo Cars. So we started working with them in 2019. And that relationship has progressed and to the point that they actually made an investment in the company, and we're working on some product development with them. And that was not only a huge win in terms of commercial potential, but it was a huge win in terms of our confidence and our capabilities, a validation of our technical approach. And we've been sort of drinking from the fire hose in terms of learning what it is that we need to do to satisfy the requirements of a very large, highly technical organization. So it's been a lot of fun, and they've been a pleasure to work with. So it's been great both ways.
That's really great. Thanks for sharing that with us. Let's jump into failures. If you could share with us a recent failure and what you learned from it, that would be great.
A recent failure. I say, knock on wood, we haven't had anything that comes immediately. You know, I think I can answer the question in two parts. One is, while I wouldn't call them failures, you know, we're a small company, we're a new company, we make mistakes. And clearly, you know, our focus is to learn from those mistakes and not to repeat them. And so, you know, we that's a daily occurrence. I think, you know, in a higher context, both with Actasys and even with you know, companies that I've been with previously, it's people. You can make mistakes with people, and you know, that's hard to predict. It's hard to prepare for. But you know, what you learn is not to, you know, not to let the problem sit. It needs to be tackled immediately.
Got it. Thank you. And speaking of people, I'm just going to predict we're going to move along to expenses. So I love just a prediction, but a lot of people, you know, that's the number one cost. So share with us your number one business expense as of today.
Yeah, it's clearly people. You know, we are a hardware business. You know, it certainly has a software component. So, you know, in terms of where our funds are expended and what people are working on, our largest expense by far is technical and product development. You know, our G&A expenses are you know, a small portion of the overall. And that's because we're doing really difficult things with very advanced technology, and you know, that's what our, you know, if we solve those technical issues and we develop a product that not only functions to the requirements of our customer but also meets their cost expectations and their quality expectations, you know, that's not only a great achievement, but it's potentially a lucrative achievement. So we certainly recognize that that's where we have to invest our dollars.
Excellent. And would payment processing be anywhere in the top 10 of your expenses right now?
Payment processing, no, because, you know, maybe the better description is not yet. We're not the kind of entity that has, you know, hundreds of customers. You know, we have 4. You know, our employee base is rather small right now, so the transaction volume is low. I would suspect that will increase, particularly over this next coming year. And you know, we're looking also at you know, as we develop this product, we also need to start making it. And so we'll look to expand our vendor base, and that's when, you know, we'll start hitting more pain points.
Excellent. Let's talk about favorite online business tools. What is that for you? What's that one tool that you love using every single day?
Gosh, that's, you know, I use so many, and I'm trying to think if there's one that really stands out as, you know, I can't live without this. I think there are 2. One is our CRM. So we use a tool called Pipedrive, which is a web-based CRM. That makes my life so much easier in terms of just the business development process, and we track several things in that. So that's been very helpful. I think the other is, you know, particularly now, given COVID and all the restrictions, we use an online tool called Ignite, which is EGNYTE, which is a server, but it's a virtual server. And it allows very easily for us to, you know, one of the things that we're really good at, because we deal with technology and technical processes, is we generate an enormous amount of data. And so it gives us a place where we can capture it, easily access it, share it, and can do so from anywhere on the planet. So you know, that's I think in terms of efficiency, that's a really good one.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that with us. I know it'll give our listeners some good insights to, things that if they're out there, because a lot of the tools that everyone mentions the typical tools, but that was a really good one that you mentioned that I've never heard of. So that's great, and it's specific for you guys as well. Let's move on to so Miles, what is that one question that you wish someone would ask you when they're speaking with you, or you're speaking to a large audience or your team, or the Q&A starts or people ask typical questions. What is that one question that no one ever asks and you think they should?
It's a good one. I mean, we get asked all sorts of questions. Some of them deal with things that they're difficult for me to comprehend at this point. So we're venture capital backed company, and so clearly part of my remit as CEO is to guide the company to grow the value of the business and ultimately find an exit where our shareholders are able to get a return on their investment. And you get asked about, exit strategy. What's your exit strategy? Are you going to go IPO? And I can answer the question, but I feel so distant from it right now that I almost feel like I'm counting my chickens before they're hatched. I don't want to jinx myself. I really sort of look at it as if you make day-to-day incremental progress, then you add a number of days together, and all of a sudden you'll find yourself at a point where you created that value. But I think the question in a similar vein that I don't get asked is, how will you know that you've made it? How will you know that you've been successful, and will be successful? And this is something that I think about, which is, it seems to be more goal-oriented, or at least a goal that I can comprehend at this point. And I tell people, or I would tell people, when I see a vehicle at a dealership with my product in it, then I know, that's my goal. And I said to my wife, when that happens, we may have to get a new car. And that's that's the embodiment, right? So that's something tangible and something that hopefully not too distant in the future that is a clear representation of success, at least as we see it.
That was really meaningful. Thank you very much. That was incredible. So I know it really resonated with me. As we're coming to a close, share with our audience how they could get in touch with you if they have any questions, and your website address. That would be great.
Yeah, so the website, which is currently being revamped, is Actasys Inc. So ACTASYSINC.com. You can certainly find me on LinkedIn. It's Miles Flamenbaum. And you can also send an email to info@actasysinc.com.
Great. I'll put that in the show notes for people that are driving. They could just pull over after or later on. But yeah, so
Yeah,
that's really great.
I appreciate that, because it saves me from trying to spell my last name and have people remember it. So
No, I love when podcasts I'll be listening to in my commute or something, or going to a meeting, and then or just doing whatever, and then they'll say something, and it's like, oh, I'm not gonna remember that, and then you try to, like, you pause it and you try to go back, and then you forget. But then it'd be nice if everyone puts in the show notes. Some people put in the show notes, some people don't. Just a hit and miss. But I try to put it there because that's the way I like it. So, well, sadly, here we are at the close. Miles, if you could use one word to close it up with, and how you're feeling now, that would be great.
hopeful. I think we're all ready to get out of 2020 and get into 2021, and I'm hopeful. I think that both for myself and my family, and as well as my business, and I'm hoping that for a lot of other people. I really hope that things start to turn around, and we can all participate in the success.
Awesome. Miles, thank you very much for coming on to the show and sharing with us particular gems that are important to you. Now people have a really good insight about more about who you are, more about your company, and I really appreciate your time and I can't wait to have you on here again.
Tony, much appreciated, and thanks to everybody for listening.
Of course.